Our pork is done, and I want to show you guys how tender this is. Welcome and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Let's get straight into enjoying this delicious brown stew pork. I have 2.5 pounds of pork stew here that I've already washed. And to season, I have my fresh herbs here, which includes 1/4 of a sweet pepper or bell pepper, 1/2 an onion, some pimento, also known as allspice. I have 1 small Scotch bonnet pepper here. I don't want it to be too spicy. And I'll be adding some jerk seasoning as well, which is also a bit spicy. Here I have 2 sprigs of scallion, some garlic, ginger, of course, it goes very well with pork, and 2 large sprigs of fresh thyme. For my dried seasonings, I have 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of all-purpose seasoning, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'll list all the ingredients in the description box below. I'm gonna start by blending my fresh herbs here with a little bit of oil. Alternatively, you can cut these up, but I personally find it a little bit easier to blend them, and I think that the flavors absorb a lot better. In goes my dried seasonings, my freshly blended seasoning, a tablespoon of this wet jerk marinade, which I personally think goes so well with pork, and you can use any brand you like. I also have a homemade one, so I'll link that for you above as well as in the description below. And lastly, a teaspoon of this browning for color. A little bit goes a long way. So I'm gonna massage this flavor into my pork. And now I'm gonna cover and allow this to marinate for a few hours. You wanna give it at least 2 hours, ideally overnight. I was able to marinate my pork a little over 5 hours. If you have allowed your pork to marinate in your fridge, you wanna remove it from the fridge for it to come to room temperature or as close to room temperature as possible before you start to cook it. In my pot here, I'm gonna heat up a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I want my oil to be extremely hot, so I'm gonna wait until it starts to smoke before I add my pork. I want it to be able to get that nice sear. So what I'm gonna do now is to transfer it to my pressure cooker, and I'm gonna pressure cook this for 10 to 15 minutes. The aim here is to reduce the cooking time significantly, but leave it to where you can still cook it down for a while in order to get that slow cooked taste. I've been stewing all my red meats this way for the past couple of years, and I've never looked back. So to this I'm gonna add 3 cups of water, and that's hot water. Remember, our meat is still hot, so we don't want to add any cold water to our pot. Alright, so I'm done pressure cooking my pork. I pressure cooked it for 12 minutes to be exact, and that's 12 minutes from the time that it starts to pressure cook, not from the time that I put it on my stove. So I'm gonna transfer this back into the pot. And to this I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of tomato ketchup, and a teaspoon of sugar. Actually, I'm gonna make that 2 teaspoons. The sugar doesn't make it sweet, it just helps to balance out the flavors a bit. And then I'm gonna cover and allow this to stew down a bit. Our pork has been stewing for 15 minutes. And my stove is on medium-low, by the way. I'm just gonna add a little bit more water. And a cooking tip, always have hot water ready when you're cooking, just in case you need it, right? And also, don't be afraid to taste and adjust your pot according to your like. So now I'm gonna add in my vegetables, and I have 1 carrot and 1 chocho. And some cultures might know the chocho as chayote squash. It's the same thing. And I know that we Caribbean people are accustomed to putting chocho in soups, but it's also very good in stews. Alternatively, you can use 1 Irish potato instead, but I have a lot of these in my kitchen and I need to use them up. So I'm gonna add this with the carrot instead of the Irish potato. I don't normally add my vegetables too early because I like for them to hold up when we're done cooking. I don't like for them to basically dissolve. But of course, you can go with your preference. So it has been another 15 minutes and everything is getting nice and tender. And you know it's almost done when the meat starts to fall off the bone. And we want the skin especially to be tender. As a matter of fact, this is basically done. But what I'm gonna do is to just top it up a little bit more with some water and give it 5 extra minutes. Only because I feel like doing it. And in under 1 hour, we have the most delicious, tender Jamaican brown stew pork. I have a couple of other brown stew recipes as well as an older brown stew pork video in which I don't use the pressure cooker, so I'll leave them all here so you can check them out. Please remember to hit the like button, share and subscribe, and connect with me on my website and other social media accounts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, live life to the fullest and just enjoy food.